Do you want to know how to cope with emotional pain? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all about parenting and good communication, processing, development all over the world through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about coping with emotional pain. In this video, we're going to be talking a little bit about emotional pain, and then I'm going to be sharing with you some key things that you can do if you're experiencing emotional pain or trying to help someone else who's experiencing emotional pain as well. If you have not seen my video, What Does Mental Pain Feel Like?, I highly recommend that you do go back and watch that video because that's going to help you. This video is meant to add on to that video, although even if you don't make it back to that, you should be able to get some good stuff here as well. But just making sure that you understand what emotional pain is. So when a person has emotional pain or mental pain, those terms can be used interchangeably, then really what that means is that they're having a sense of disappointment of self. Okay, so that's what we need to understand, is that the person is starting to feel like they're not sure that they're a good version of them. They start devaluing them. So then our question is, well, what do we do to help a person in that particular situation? One of the best things that we can do is help a person make a plan for how to handle disappointment, because they're being disappointed with themselves. So whether you're disappointed in the fact that you didn't get a job promotion, or you're disappointed because your cat made a mess on the floor or something like that, that's all disappointments. And actually the way that we handle disappointments can be boiled down into the same process, no matter if it's someone else disappointing you or you disappointing yourself. I will say that oftentimes people are harder on themselves than they are on other people. Why is it that we don't forgive ourselves, or we don't give ourselves enough credit? I think it's because most people have ideals inside, and they hold themselves pretty firmly to what their ideals are. And because they're maybe judging other people or looking how other people don't measure up to their ideals, they just truly, genuinely expect that they will always be able to meet their ideals. But you know, we're human. I mean, that's a thing. I think we have to think of ourselves as people who are fallible. I mean, we're going to mess up. And we have to accept that. So that's probably one of the most important things with dealing with disappointment is, you know, if somebody else is disappointing you, you can say to yourself, well, they tried. Or, you know, they're human. They're going to make mistakes. It's okay. I can forgive the mistake. But can you do the same for yourself? We need to be able to do the same for ourselves. We need to be able to say, that was a mistake. That wasn't what I planned for. I know what is better. That helps me move forward and hopefully not have this situation happen again. But I don't need to beat myself up. I can just recognize this happened, it wasn't the right way, and then I can move on from here. Basically, when you handle disappointment, you are accepting a no answer and then basically self-correcting yourself forward. So how do you accept a no answer? I teach parenting, remember? So I teach parents how to teach their children how to self-govern themselves. And so I have a lot of books and resources. This is just one. I've written 11 different books. Some are for children, some are for parents. This is probably the main piece. This one's called Parenting a House United. And you can find this at my website, teachingselfgovernment.com. I highly recommend it. There's also audio on there. You can find this book. So in this book, we teach the skills of self-government. One of those skills is accepting a no answer. When you accept a no answer, you look at the person or the situation, you keep a calm face, voice, and body. Then you say, okay, acknowledge that something happened, right? Or you disagree appropriately, if that seems like a good option, and then you drop the subject, whether you get your way or not. That is how you handle a no answer. Well, what is a no answer? It's basically a disappointment. So you look at the situation or the person. You may have to even go to the mirror and look at yourself in the mirror and say, okay, self, this is what you did. And I see that. I'm going to stay calm about it. I'm going to say, okay, that happened. And you know what? I'm not going to spend my time thinking about it anymore. I'm going to drop the subject and I'm going to move on. I'm going to start doing the right thing. So this brings us into doing a self-correction. Well, first off, let's talk about when you correct another person. I think that's probably the better place to start. And then we'll talk about correcting ourselves. When you correct another person, you describe what happened. And by the way, this is a healthy correction because there are unhealthy corrections, okay? We want to focus on doing healthy, self-governed corrections. You describe what happened in the situation. So you say, okay, this is what happened. I went to bed last night and didn't set my alarm. Even though I have a goal to set my alarm, I didn't think of doing it. I fell asleep before I had the chance. That's the situation, okay? Then step number 2, you give yourself a reason why that wasn't good. It is not good to stay up late enough that I fall asleep before I set my alarm, because then I end up, late to work and putting some other people out. Then step 3, you describe what you should have done. What I should do is I should set myself a go to bed time, and there's an alarm that goes off at that time when I'm supposed to go to bed. And when that alarm goes off, I set my alarm for the morning. Boom, there's a plan, right? This is what I should have done. This is what I'm going to do. And then you tell yourself, okay, well, I've disappointed some people at the office, so I'm going to have to accept that as a consequence. Because when I correct someone else, I'm going to tell them that they've earned a certain negative consequence. Maybe it's an extra chore or something like that. Well, when it's myself, I have to just acknowledge the consequence. That's probably the natural consequence. Usually I don't give myself another synthetic consequence. So maybe I disappointed people at the office. I didn't get my project submitted in time, or whatever it was. I tell myself that's what it is and that I can accept it. I can be okay with it. That's what happened. So then after I accept whatever consequences that I feel like I earned or that happened because of the situation, then after that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell myself, okay, next time this is what's going to happen. I'm going to prepare myself mentally to move myself forward in a good direction. This gives me hope. When you're in a state of emotional pain, you start to get hopeless quick. And so it's actually good to maintain hope by pushing yourself forward, by saying, okay, I'm just going to problem solve instead of think about this too much. That's a much healthier thing to do. If you start overthinking about the situation, then you won't actually fix the situation. And without a fix, you might keep thinking bad about yourself. Now, I know sometimes it seems like a situation is beyond repair. You just can't fix it. So then what do? I highly recommend having somebody that you talk to about those things, because you can fix how you think of the situation, even if you think you can't fix the situation with someone else, because maybe it's an interpersonal problem. Relationships are powerful. They have the ability to bring us the greatest pain, which so many of our mental pains and emotional pains stem from interpersonal relationship problems. But they also can heal. So going and connecting with another person, discussing with another person, is going to bring some healing and some hope as well. So have a trusted person that you talk to and that helps you see a way forward, helps you see what is not seen. When you establish a personal connection with another person, this actually is super healing, because that person taking the time for you shows you that you have value. Now, I say that a little apprehensively, because sometimes we may pick a person we want to have that personal connection time with, and maybe they're busy during that time. Well, just because somebody's busy or doesn't have time right then doesn't mean you're not valuable. But now find another person who can connect with you at that time. And if for some reason there is just nobody around that is available at that time, or you're in the middle of work, you're in your work day and you can't take the time to just go and connect with somebody, then what you need to do is establish a spiritual connection. I totally believe in prayer, and I believe that there is somebody that paid the ultimate price for me so that I don't have to live in pain, so that I can have comfort. And that for me is my Savior, Jesus Christ. I don't have to go through everything because He already did so much of it. So pray, go to God. Talk to Him about it in your heart and in your mind. Even if you're at work, you're sweeping something up, you're organizing something, you're sorting something, whatever you're doing, take that little bit inside your brain, in your mind, in your heart, to cry out to God to help you. And I truly know that if you ask God to help take away that pain, that He will, and that you can trust that He will, so that you can drop the subject. It can take a little bit of time sometime for some things to heal and to go away, and for some of that anguish to be solved, but it's totally possible. So let yourself maybe have a few uncomfortable days, but keep the praying happening, and soon you'll be able to see that life looks a lot better than you thought it did. Sometimes when we're experiencing emotional pain, it could come just because we don't know how to keep ourselves calm. And I have something I would like to give you that could help with that. I have something called a Calm Parenting Toolkit, and really it's just for personal calmness. And it is a start to learning self-government for yourself that could be really valuable. Everything I teach for parenting applies to the individual parent as well. In fact, the parent is my target audience. So whether you're a parent or not, just an adult that needs some help with calmness and regulation and some of the pain that you're experiencing, this Calm Parenting Toolkit could be beneficial to you. There's 10 tools for calmness. It's a great start at self-government. Don't stop your learning there, but definitely start. In the description below this video, there is a link to the Calm Parenting Toolkit. It says teachselfgov.com/toolkit. Click on the link to that little mini course now, and you can have it for free. I'll see you there.